Welcome back to the Retro Game Redux podcast. It's episode 19. My name is Scuba and I am joined as always by Kirblet. Kirblet, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful day to be podcasting with my favorite friend. How's it going for you, Scubs?
It's going okay. I just finished 5 hours of playing Dark Souls on stream, so I'm a little bit burnt out, but I think I have a podcast in me, so we're going to get through it.
All right.
Yeah. So lots to talk about this week. So what we're going to talk about, a couple things. Kirb has a bit on video game Demakes, and if you don't know what those are, prepare to be surprised. I'm certainly looking forward to learning a bit more about that. We also have a little thing. I just want to talk a little bit about video games and mental health, because I think that's a cool thing to do. And not so much a from a learned point of view, but just from an experiential point of view. I'd love to talk about how video games, especially retro video games, can help us through mental health troubles. And, we'll talk more a bit about Kirb's latest obsession with F-Zero custom tracks. And who knows what else? Kirb, anything you want to start with? I'm going to let you go first this week.
Well, let's start off with a bit of good news.
Nice.
So
we all need some.
You've probably heard of the name Koji Kondo. Would I be?
Nope, never heard of the guy. Is that some? Is he a plumber?
No, but he's very associated with one. Koji Kondo is the legendary composer of the Super Mario Brothers games, as well as the music for the Legend of Zelda series.
Did he write Denim, Denim, Denim?
Yep, he sure did.
Okay, I love that one.
Well, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of great news to celebrate this wonderful, wonderful man. He has been selected for the 27th D.i.C.E Awards Hall of Fame induction. And the D.i.C.E Awards are the Design, Innovate, Create, Entertain. That's what it stands for. It's a part of the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, which helps promote, video games and their accolades. And so Koji Kondo will be joining several very famous inductees into the Hall of Fame, including his fellow Nintendo friend Shigeru Miyamoto, who was the first to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yes, so that is going to be held in actually a couple of weeks on February 15th, literally the day before my birthday, on the IGN live stream channels.
Very cool. I often picture like Koji Kondo and Miyamoto just like hanging out, having a beer together. It's like,
well, for a long time, that's kind of what was happening too. He's been and still is an employee at Nintendo longer than I've been alive, and I'm 38 years old. He joined the company back in 1984, and he hasn't left. It's been a lifelong career for Kondo-san.
What is he doing at this point? Like, is he still writing music?
Absolutely. If you've played Super Mario Wonder, you're still hearing his work.
No way. That's amazing.
Yes.
I knew that he had something to do with Wonder, but at some point it's like maybe you'll write the melody and somebody else is going to flesh out the tune, but it's nice to know he's still working. That would be my dream, is to work and make music into my. How old is he now?
I'm not sure.
He's old.
he's getting there in his years, but that doesn't seem to stop him for sure.
Well, congratulations, Koji Kondo.
Koji Kondo.
So what else can we talk about tonight?
Well, you've heard of me, having a lot of fun playing, custom F-Zero tracks and various ROM hacks that have been out there. Well, I've been playing that a lot longer than I would care to admit, and it's actually got me inspired to actually start trying my hand at making some F-Zero tracks.
Oh, cool. So are there tools that are already programs that you can use to do that that have been created by the.
Absolutely, and I'm actually in the process of using said tools. One of those programs is called Tiled,
Mm-hmm.
which allows you to do, which is what I'm going to be using to actually make the track.
Right.
And it's kind of basically making the image
Yeah.
that'll be interpreted by the system
Mm-hmm.
to play the ROM hack.
Mm-hmm.
So use that to kind of draw out with the different like tile maps, and you kind of place them on the track and orient them in a way that you want to make your track. And then there's now then a separate program that you use that's kind of community developed called F-Zero Edit
Mm-hmm.
or FZ Edit. I'm sorry. And from there, that's where you incorporate the path that the computer takes. So you kind of tell them this is where, when you're racing against the computer, where
Right.
the computer goes. And you can do
Interesting.
it you can do branch paths and stuff like that. Yeah, it's actually pretty neat.
Is there's like I haven't really played much F-Zero. There's like multiple paths and stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple of tracks in the original game. One of the more famous examples being Mute City 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know that circular path in the middle of the track? And you may or may not be
No,
familiar with that.
I'm not.
Mhm. Part of the track devolves into like a circular oval-shaped path, and you can take either a left or the right path to go through it.
Right.
And then there's also the track called Silence.
Uh-huh.
And so you can, if you open these two tracks up in F-Zero Edit, there's two paths that you'll see if you have it show the AI path.
Mm-hmm.
That'll show these two divulging paths that the computer can take, and even on the tiling map itself, there's different. There's actually a tile set that allows you to give a main path and a branching path as well, which is really neat.
Can you make it so some of the AI goes one way and some goes the other way?
That's determined, by the computer whether it takes the main or the branch path.
Okay. And do you have to do anything to determine, like when you're drawing the image, does the F-Zero program interpret like, okay, well, this is track and then this is an obstacle and this is energy, or do you have to define that separately?
No, you don't have to define that separately. You just have to define the path that the cars go.
Uh-huh.
It'll read when you're patching the ROM. It'll be a specific tile set or a group of tiles where you have to put where the start and finish line is, and you'll tell the program where the start line is, basically for it, and then it goes from there.
Okay.
It's actually more simple than I thought it was going to be. To
cool.
make that.
So are you planning on releasing some sort of a ROM hack based on this, or is this can you do more than just make the tracks, or is that a separate can of worms?
I think it's kind of a separate can of worms as far as like if you mean like presenting it as a whole like pack, like with little mini maps and stuff, and presentation on the title screen and stuff. That's a different can of worms, but that's something I'm definitely going to be researching because I would love to do that.
Well, it would be cool if there was custom music too. I would love to. Maybe we could make a ROM hack together.
I know. I would love to. I would love to include some brand new music in that. Because the F-Zero sound, sound profiles, it's really great, and I would love to hear some custom music made by
for sure
made by you, sir.
For sure. Well, it's funny. I've been thinking about maybe making and releasing a record in SNES format.
Okay.
Like there's this guy, like he's like a Japanese like city pop kind of future funk
okay,
like a guy named, he goes by Night Tempo. I don't know if you've ever heard of Night Tempo. Anyway, Night Tempo just released a record using like SNES sounds. like all like basically like what I would do for SMW like a
Mhm.
port, basically making a whole record out of that using the limitations of the SNES chip, the sound chip. And lately I've been trying to like simplify my songwriting and just sort of get
Mhm.
into a habit of making music. But the problem is I have so many tools uh at the ready,
Mhm.
and I need to sandbox my creativity, and like a SNES record I think would be super cool.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about it. I would love to collaborate with somebody who's like maybe making a ROM hack and sort of make it sort of a 2-for-1 deal.
That would be great.
That's my dream. So I'm looking for somebody, if you're out there, if you want to make a Kaizo ROM hack or something like that and you need SNES music, get at me. Yeah, so I've been doing that. I've been doing that actually off stream lately. Just been sort of honing my chops at
Mhm.
porting. I'm about to release some new
Okay.
ports on SMW Central because I had so much fun doing that. It's so like it's so peaceful to do that kind of work. I guess that's sort of transitions into our next topic, which is mental health stuff.
All
But
right.
sometimes you just want something simple to occupy your mind when you're going through, life's trials and tribulations. Everyone
Yeah.
goes through stress. Everyone has, you know, bad stuff happen to them in their lives, unfortunately.
Right.
But, it's like video games have become more than just entertainment. They become therapy in a way, right?
A little bit, yeah.
I would say a lot, like
Yeah.
I never really thought of it as that. I'll tell you my story. Like, um, I guess the way I got back into video games is my
Mhm.
dad died.
Oh.
To put it uh, like just like the simplest terms.
Mhm.
So I needed something to, I always say that I started getting into video games when I started becoming like when I started being a composer, basically. So a lot
Okay.
of time spent at home. But during that time, I was also sort of grieving the loss of my dad. This was back in like
Mm.
2015, 2016. It was
Mhm.
2016 when he passed. So I started watching Twitch just to sort of like take my
Mhm.
mind off, the sads.
Yeah. Mhm.
um, but I found it to be like a great thing is just to have like a built-in community where you could just make small talk and keep it light and just focus on the games and have like sort of shared
Mhm.
experience together.
Yeah, so
And
it kinda helped you not be alone so much
yeah, it's
in
it's
your
definitely
thoughts,
like a
maybe.
fighting loneliness thing. It's definitely
Mhm.
a pleasant distraction kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and then as I started playing more and started streaming more, I just started seeing more and more benefits in the realm of mental health, like
Mhm.
just self care kind of stuff. Um, And to be honest, like I've never felt it more than playing some of the hardest games imaginable. And I'll try and make some sense of that for
Mm.
you. Um, like Dark Souls is such a great example. Um,
Okay.
and it sort of has this sort of like inherent philosophy baked into the game.
Mhm.
So you're thrown into a world where you don't understand anything and you're up against like a formidable challenge
Right.
with no guidance and just your own wits about you and your the only thing that gets you through the challenge is perseverance, you know? And I guess
Right.
like
Yeah.
you find ways to make it easier for yourself, like
Mhm.
upgrades and maybe you look up some strats or you the great thing about all the Souls games is they have co-op if you need it. Like you can get somebody to
Mhm.
kind of beam in and help you beat a hard boss, for
Yeah,
example.
you don't have to do everything, by yourself. You can always
Yeah.
have a friend that'll have your back, or
Yeah.
at least you hope.
Now, isn't that such a great metaphor for life?
Mhm. Right,
You're
yeah.
not alone and the most important thing and the only important thing is that you don't give up.
Hmm.
You know, it's like um we're our own worst enemies sometimes, I think. And I've definitely felt like that. Like I've just been so down on myself.
Hmm.
And you know, those Souls games, I think, have taught me a lot about not getting discouraged, you know? And if
Like
you
there's
are
always something new to learn.
yeah, I mean, and easier said than done because those
Oh yeah.
games will beat you down. But you know what you
Mm.
learn about the games is like they're not out to get you. They're not trying to be unfair. They're just trying to be challenging.
Mhm.
And you know, even the world of Dark Souls, it's not inherently evil. It's just challenging to try and get through it, right? Because it
Right.
exists as it is, and it's going to keep existing whether you're in it or not. And the only difference is that you want to get from here to there.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just thought it was, I just like, it's almost like this existentialist kind of thing where you define your role in that game, like your meaning in that game, just
Right.
through the gameplay and through your own experience, you know?
You're right. Yeah. The challenge is there before you. It's just how would you like to approach it? You know, how do you want to
Mhm.
how do you want to play it? How do you want to get past it?
For
You know,
sure.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So that's one example I can think of. But the other example I can think of, like lately, that's really been helping me is I started relearning the Contra speedrun. So
Oh, okay. Kind of come back to this to Contra speedruns again.
yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna put up some video of my play
Heck yeah.
because you're gonna see what it's like to actually run Contra. It's
Mm,
like when you're starting from scratch. It's like as I am in like you know 3 years. You know, for those who don't know, 3 years ago I was trying to break sub 11 in Contra, which
mm,
would be sort of top 100 speed run kind of thing. And I got it down to 11-13, but never cracked 11.
mm.
And sort of gave up just because I wanted to focus on other stuff. But really, I would love to get back to it. Like, and it's always been sort of like calling me in the background.
Mm.
So it was because of retro achievements that I started running it again. Um, because I want to get all the Chivos for it.
Mhm.
So this is me like dying on a pretty simple section in the first level, but you know,
Oh, it's
I found really great like just sort of like comfort in just doing the same thing over and over again. Like there's sort of the nostalgia of it and just the sort of consistency of like, yep, there's jungle again.
it's kind of a zenness to it, right?
It really is. It really
Mhm.
is. It's you know, just the act of doing over and over
Mm,
again, and that creates meaning over time.
mhm.
Same as Dark Souls, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So, would you say this is kind of a game that kind of gives you a bit of zen when you need a bit of calm?
Yeah, this is one of them. This is one of
Mhm.
them. Slay the Spire has also been really good for that.
Oh,
Lately, I've been playing a
nice.
lot of that. I
Mhm.
really like these card-based games lately. I want to do more of them.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, you know, a game that I like to play when I need some zen time, is kind of out there. It's a power wash simulator.
That makes so
um,
much sense, actually. Like that's
yeah,
not
it's
out
like
there at all. It's like you're just washing stuff.
yeah, you don't have to do it by yourself too. You can do a co-op with Power Simulator.
You don't
Um,
have to wash alone.
you don't have to you don't have to clean by yourself.
Yeah,
Share your chores with your
right?
friends.
You'll never wash alone. Isn't that how the song goes?
Yeah, you can, and all you can do, you can just lose yourself
Yeah,
in the moment.
yeah,
You know, and
for
I think
sure.
that's kind of what video games can do is provide that sense of calm that you might otherwise
Yeah,
have not realized you needed.
yeah,
And I think that's a beautiful thing when you can escape even reality just a little bit, allows you to kind of immerse yourself in something that isn't, you know, your
hmm
mind, you know,
hmm
and distract yourself. And I think that's something that not only retro games can provide, um, but I think modern games also has a place with modern video games as well.
For
But
sure.
I think it's more powerful with retro video games because it's not only combining that zen that video games have, but also there's also some nostalgia, bringing you back to a simpler time, especially if it's a game that you played when you were younger. And I think that'll just provide that nice dopamine boost of escapism that you might have needed.
I can already imagine what yours are.
Oh yeah,
Super Mario RPG.
yep, that is one.
Maybe some DKC.
Donkey Kong Country is up there. Yeah, another one. And this is an odd one. You remember? I don't know. It was an NES game called 3D World Runner.
I don't know that one.
No, okay. It's kind of a quasi 3D-esque. Do you remember Space Harrier?
Oh yeah, I love Space Harrier.
Yeah, it's kind of that running forward kind of game.
Cool.
Yeah, you're kind of running through different obstacles and stuff. I never owned the game, but I always found it mesmerizing when I watched like cousins play the game on a retro TV, and it was just like I can get lost watching them play it all day. And it was just and then I play it later, and I found that, man, this is not only bringing back memories, but it's actually pretty cool to just play mindlessly. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's to welcome distractions. I think the one thing to note is it's all about balance, right? It's like if your mental health regime consists of only playing video games, it can work against you,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
yeah. If I might add one last thing, please, if there's anyone out there who's definitely having some mental health issues, please I always encourage you to see a mental health professional. They can help you get on the right track. I know it's been helping me a lot with seeing a therapist.
Heck yeah.
It's been doing a world of good for me, and I firmly believe that I can do a world of good for you out there as well.
If this were a sponsored podcast, this is where the better health segue would come in.
Right?
But instead, we're just going to say to seek out whatever works for you. Exactly. And just know that there's help for you, no matter what you're going through, because you're not alone. You're not the only one who's gone through an issue sometimes, and there's support for you. And hopefully video games are a healthy part of that, because they've totally helped me. I felt like there was such a stigma on it when I was growing up. Video games were there to rot your brain and to burn your eyes out. And while I feel like they have made my vision worse in the last 3 years, and it's definitely not that I'm getting old, I definitely think that they've been like a huge benefit. So
as with anything in life, always in moderation.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about video game Demakes?
Oh yes.
Let's go back to that other video that we were watching before.
Yes.
Where is it?
Super Smash Land.
What the heck is this Super Smash Land all about?
So, Super Smash Land specifically itself is what's known as a video game demake. This one
looks like Game Boy.
Yeah, it looks like a Game Boy with the green dot matrix screen and everything. This one was actually made by Dan Fornace, who also developed another pretty famous game in the fighting community called Rivals of Ether. I don't know if you've ever heard of that game.
No, I never.
No. Think of like Brawlhalla in a way. You may have heard of that game.
Nope.
Oh, well, that's fine.
I think you're going to start to slowly realize that if you throw a reference out there of any kind, I'm never going to get it.
Maybe someone in our audience.
So little shared experience, which is what makes this podcast great.
Right. All right. Well, anyway, but yeah, he developed this. Super Smash Land. It's still available for download. You can go to supersmashland.com if you ever wanted to check it out. It's not a ROM hack. It's like an actually it's like an executable
No
game
way.
by itself. So yeah, it's not
So it's not a ROM. So this is just a game that you would play on your computer.
That's correct.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So the basic concept of video game demakes is that you're taking a video game and you're essentially quote unquote demaking it in the style or limitation of an earlier console, including adapting stuff like graphics, controls, etc. And it also implies like this does not include ports to a more simpler system, like Killer Instinct for the Game Boy, which I actually owned and played as a kid.
Right.
That's a different thing in of itself. Now, there have been some pretty infamous examples, and if I were to ever tell you that Bloodborne was released for the PlayStation, you might get confused at first because it's already been released on PlayStation 4.
No, I've heard of this one actually. A PS1 Bloodborne.
Bloodborne PSX is what I'm referring to. Yep. Complete, complete with the graphical jitterness of the PlayStation era, with the pseudo 3D, jitteriness cool. That you've seen.
Super cool.
They also the developers also mapped the controls to like an actual PS1 controller and not like a PS2 DualShock or anything like that.
Yeah, so no analog stick?
No analog stick. Yeah, you had
that sounds amazing and horrible at the same time.
Right.
Next up, Dark Souls for DOS.
Right. And there's even demakes that have been for something you might not expect. You ever heard of you may or may not have heard of Pico 8. You ever heard of that?
Pico 8 is the proto Celeste game, right?
Yeah, Celeste actually started as a Pico 8 game. Pico 8 is a virtual, think of it like a virtual machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, Celeste started out as that, and actually you can play the original Pico version of that in the game itself. It was included as an Easter egg.
That's super cool.
In the hotel section.
That's super cool. Speaking of Celeste, do you want to talk about Celeste 64? Did we talk about that already?
No, we have not. But I've been enjoying the absolute, the absolute fun that it is. Yes.
Yeah, I watched Jimmy play that on Friday, and I've seen you play that.
Yeah. It's so great.
It's so great. It's just like it, and it's even got like the when you get a strawberry, it's got the sort of like star animation, like in SM64.
Right. Yeah, and for those wondering, it was actually developed by this actual Celeste team. The original developers made this version as well. So it was actually released a couple weeks ago. So it's very recent.
And where can you get that?
You can. Where I found it was on the Celeste team's Twitter, and I forget what website it was.
Itch.io.
I think so. Actually, I think you can find it on itch.io.
Yeah, cool. And it's free too, right?
Absolutely free. Yeah, free release to the public. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm terrible at Mario 64, but I definitely want to try it at some point. Have you how far have you got in the game? Is it very big?
The Celeste 64, not that big. There's only I think about 25 strobs to get. Nice. But it's quite challenging. It's kind of a like an overworld, and then there are the B-sides or C-side cassette tapes, and when you find those, it transports you into kind of a like a mini game, not a mini game, but kind of a mini dimensional pocket, kind of a level where you can it's kind of a bit of a challenge to get one of the strobs.
Cool. Well, I'm very curious on that, and I've been seeing all these new sort of like retro like standalone games pop up. Like this Smash one looks amazing. I think this is the Smash that I would play if I played Smash.
Yeah,
you know
Super
why?
Smash.
It's because I'm not used to all those like crazy fast animations. Like this is slow and I can understand it. There's very limited pixel count.
Actually, this is actually a little bit slower than the actual gameplay is. I did not run this in full screen when I recorded this, so it's actually a little bit slower, but not by that much. So you'll still enjoy it. This game actually added a brand new character. They added Vaporeon as a playable character.
Is that that's a Pokemon, right?
That is a Pokemon.
I know that because I just got one of those cards. I'm getting pretty close to having well, I'm not close to the master set, but I have basically all of the easy to get cards in my Pokemon 151 pursuits.
Very nice.
And the only ones that I don't have are the very expensive ones, which are super rare. And I realize what a scam it is now. Like, it's just like, would you like to print some more money? Okay, let's have one of these cards be worth $100 and you'll never get one.
Unless you buy like a chance in a particular box set or...
Well, even if you buy a box, there's no guarantee.
This is true.
It's like I hesitate to say how much how many packs I've opened,
right?
But it's been a fun little pursuit, and I really dig it. I almost kind of want to learn how to play the card game now because I love Slay the Spire, and it's sort of like I'm sure it's like sort of a similar thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Jimmy's in the chat. He says gambling at its finest.
Gambling at its finest. I love it.
Yeah. It's gambling for kids.
But yeah, no, I've actually played the Pokemon card game on and off for a number of years. That's not that hard to pick up, honestly.
Well, I might try it out. I mean, I have all these extra cards, all these like worthless cards. They're just like, oh, I have 7 of these now.
In fact, there've actually been some Pokemon trading card game video games released over the years. So if you ever...
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, see where I've unlocked Vaporeon.
Cool.
And then the stage, in Super Smash Line. Sorry, I was just for those on the podcast side of things, on the audio only. If you check out our YouTube page, you can see where we're also kind of watching the video gameplay that I recorded for Super Smash Land.
What else do we got? Anything else you want to talk about? Like, I don't really have that much this week. I've just been sort of busy with life stuff. I'm starting to look for a new apartment. Be moving in April. It's going okay. Just getting going. Want to find a place with a big enough, room to have some gaming set up in there, and also my studio and. Maybe they get combined again. They're in separate rooms now, but I'm thinking about combining them into one big old smorg, if you will.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with that. I hope, when you do find a place, I hope it's the right one for you. And best of luck with the move, man.
All right. Well, it's not till April, but I guess that'll be here sooner than we think. Anything else you want to say, Kirb?
No, nothing I can think of at this time.
Okay, well, let's call it a shorty because we've done some longies in recent episodes. So this will be a short and sweet one, but we'll be back next week. Hey, maybe Jimmy wants to come on next week. Who knows? Until then, though, I just want to say take care of yourself, and as always, keep on gaming.
Well, thank you so much, and take care of yourself too as well, and everyone out there, and keep on gaming.